Christmas Countdown, The Advent Calendar. Copyright 2022 by Lexy Timms. Written by Lexy Timms. Narrated by Kathleen Starr Hall. Christmas Countdown. It's beginning to cost a lot like Christmas. Why him? Of all the party planners in the city, I managed to hire a company run by my ex-husband, James. I haven't seen him in more than 10 years. He broke my heart by turning away from me in his time of need. I'll never forgive him for that. But damn, he looks good. And he's saying all the right things. I just have to get through this Christmas season without falling for his charms, and I'll be right back where I started, blissfully single. The only problem, the more time I spend with him, the harder he is to resist. Lexy Timms brings you a Christmas holiday romance. Join in the holiday spirit with a festive read and some laughs to get you into the Christmas season. Chapter 1. Alice. Oh, jingle hell. The last person I expected to see at my 10 o'clock meeting just walked through the door. I thought the owner of First Stars and Pixie Dust would be a woman. Specifically, I was imagining a toned yoga instructor type or someone who had obviously been a cheerleader and head of her sorority house in college. I thought she would have blonde hair and a cute little upturned nose. She would carry around a tablet and talk about her fur babies. We were going to bond over being women in the workforce, and I would feel safe about handing over this important project to her. I even gave her a name like Candy or Cindy, something with a vowel at the end. I was going to dump all my expectations in her lap, and she would gather them up and create a magical month of entertainment for my staff. But instead of Candy or Cindy, the person who walked in the door at 10 o'clock was none other than my ex-husband, James. At first, I thought it was an awful coincidence. He was there to talk to me about some residual divorce thing. Maybe he'd gotten my mail by mistake and he was returning it, or he wanted to talk to me about what went wrong, or he was announcing his engagement to another woman. My jaw dropped, and I stood up from behind my desk, unable to speak. He stopped short just inside the office, his hand still on the doorknob. He was as surprised to see me as I was to see him. It didn't even occur to me that he was the brains behind First Stars and Pixie Dust, even when he shook his head slightly as if trying to wake himself up from a dream. "James?" I stuttered. "Allison?" he responded. "It's Alice now," I said. He let out a huff of air, his shocked face relaxing into a smile. "That makes sense. I thought your name sounded familiar, but I convinced myself it had to be someone else." "What are you doing here?" I demanded, coming around the desk to confront him. "I'm your 10 o'clock, he said. "No," I told him. "That's impossible. I'm supposed to be meeting with First Stars and Pixie Dust." He tapped the embroidery on the button-down shirt he wore, and I saw with horror that it bore the company logo. I was dumbstruck. Where was my pert little female friend that I was going to bond with? I wanted a series of light-hearted yet expertly crafted games, parties, and events for the entire month of December. I owned a logistics company, and the Christmas season was our busiest time of the year. We were staring down the barrel of 4 hours of overtime each day, only one day off each week, and a pace of work that was going to make all of us crazy. Last year around this time, 2 of my staff members quit. They said it was too much, and I couldn't blame them. While I was angry and had to scramble to fill their positions, I hoped that no one else would take their lead and leave me hanging. It was just the nature of our business that things got crazy around the holidays. If we didn't have the Christmas season, we wouldn't be nearly as profitable. And I wasn't just thinking about my bottom line. If we made money, then we all could keep our jobs, and that was the most important thing. Way back in July, I'd started thinking about a solution. I had a limited number of things I could offer. A bonus on Christmas Eve was a good start, but I wanted something more. I wanted people to be excited to come to work, not to feel like it was a drain on their energy. At first, I thought about throwing one party, but even that didn't seem like enough. There was always the Secret Santa gift exchange, but every office did that. I wanted something special, something that would stand out and make people say, "I want to work here." Nothing short of a party a day was going to do it. If I carved out an hour or 2 for fun stuff, then the rest of the time, people could attack their jobs with renewed vigor. If we had a party each day, they would love to come to work, and it wouldn't feel so overwhelming. Of course, I didn't have time to plan nearly 24 events by myself. I wrote up a quick proposal outlining what I expected and hunted the internet for a company that could provide it. First Stars and Pixie Dust came highly recommended on the search engine. They had expertise when it came to corporate events, weddings, and party planning. I didn't see any testimonials from people who did exactly what I wanted to do, but nevertheless, it didn't hurt to ask. I emailed their admin with my proposal, and she responded saying of course they could help me. It was a relief to know that I was in good hands, and I agreed to a face-to-face as soon as possible. Their website featured a bunch of happy customers and what must have been a model. She was the woman I was expecting to see, not James. We weren't married for very long, but we dated all through high school. He was a slacker, for goodness sake, not some kind of event coordinator. He wasn't involved in the prom committee or any of the numerous dances we had throughout our stint in high school. I didn't even remember him playing a musical instrument, just looking adorable in his tight black t-shirt. I thought I was in love, but it didn't last. 10 years passed without even a word from him, allowing me to see the truth. It was probably just puppy love. People were expected to hook up in high school. That didn't mean there was anything real or special about it. Seeing him again brought back all those memories, and I tried to repress them. I didn't want to think about sneaking around behind his parents' backs or cuddling in the back seat of my car. It seemed cruel to remember holding each other close, dancing in the gym under the black lights that the prom committee had installed. And when he proposed to me this summer after we graduated, I thought it was the happiest moment of my life. I'd spent all my savings on a $200 dress, and we tied the knot at our little family church. It was sweet, really. A hometown event featuring both our families and all our friends. Thank goodness we weren't still together. Who knows where I might have ended up? I could have been a housewife instead of the owner of a thriving logistics business poised to bring in more than $3 million in sales. After James disappeared, I got my life together. I filed for divorce, and he didn't contest it. I went back to college, graduated, and started working for this firm. I impressed my boss so much that when she retired, she handed the entire thing over to me. It was my company, and for the past 3 years, I had been running a tight ship. I'd like to think that my employees respected me. I was sure they had some complaints, but none that anyone ever voiced to me. This holiday extravaganza that I wanted to plan was going to be the icing on the cake. I was going to go down in history as the best boss ever, but not with James's help. I couldn't even remember him doing much of anything when we were together. He had a job at an old record store where he helped nostalgic adults find the jazz tunes they were looking for. It fit him to a T, and I couldn't imagine him doing anything else. "What?" I stammered. "How?" I majored in business in college, and some of the events that the school had planned fell short. I knew I could do better. I had my inheritance, so I got some friends together and we started our own company. His inheritance. Yes, I remembered. His parents died not long after we were married. And he didn't take it well. One moment he was there, and the next he was gone. Vanished off the face of the earth. I tried to find him for weeks, thinking he must have been in a car accident or something. I heard from a friend of a friend that he was holed up in some crappy hotel, so I went to see him. He didn't even open the door for me. He didn't explain what had happened or offer me any sympathy. I thought he was the meanest, most selfish person on the planet until I learned the truth. When I found out that his parents had died of carbon monoxide poisoning while on vacation, I berated myself for ever doubting him. I turned back around to try to comfort him, but he was gone again. When he finally resurfaced, he was a wreck. Drunk at 9 a.m, he told me he wasn't interested in working on our relationship. With a heavy heart, I decided to move on. Standing there in my office, he was a totally different person. Clean and well-dressed, 10 years older and still looking good, he presented well. I wanted to hate him for turning away from me in his time of need, but the smile on his face made it hard. "I don't think this is going to work," I said tightly. "What isn't going to work?" he asked. "This, us." "There is no us." "You know what I mean." I walked back to my desk, affecting the look of a woman who is too busy to talk. "I'll find someone else to do my party planning." "No, you won't," he said confidently, filling the space in the room as if he owned it. "I'm sorry." "You heard me," he snapped with the same amount of confidence I was trying to portray. There's no other company that can do what you're asking." He pulled my proposal out of a folder I hadn't even realized he was carrying. "And you'd better hurry and book me since I've got some other clients waiting in the wings." He stole my breath with his audacity. To come into my office in my building and talk to me like that was unheard of. Of course, there were other people I could go to. I only stopped searching when I found First Stars and Pixie Dust because they had great reviews and they fit the bill. It would only be a matter of a little bit more research to come up with a different name. "Congratulations on the success of your business," I said tightly. "I think I'll be fine." "Suit yourself." He put the proposal down on my desk, but don't wait too long to call me back. "I'm not going to call you back," I bristled. "You have to book us before November if I'm going to have time to purchase all the supplies." He continued on as if we were already ironing out the details. "James," I said between clenched teeth. He smiled. "It's good to see you." My shoulders slumped. It was so hard to stay angry with him when he was being so polite. I knew in my heart that spending the Christmas season with him was a bad idea. If everything turned out the way I wanted it to, I would be deeply involved with the party planners for the entire month of December. That was way too much time to spend with my ex. I knew I could find someone else. I just had to keep digging. His insistence that I would come crawling back was irritating, but the smile made it all seem worthwhile. I wondered if he was seeing anyone else, or if he was married again. A quick glance at his hand told me he wasn't wearing a ring. He caught it and showed me both hands with a grin. I turned away, pretending that I didn't care. This was too much too early in the morning. I had a full day ahead of me. If James thought he was going to be busy for the next few months, he had no idea what the word meant. I needed to batten down the hatches if we were going to survive the coming storm. "You can show yourself out," I said. He nodded softly. "Take care of yourself, Allie." "Alice," I said. "Alice," he amended, walking out the door without another word. I stared at the vacant space he'd left behind, my head spinning. Sitting back down, I tried to gather my thoughts. It didn't mean anything. He was gone, and I had a job to do. It wasn't fate bringing us back together, just a colossal mix-up that I could easily fix. I dragged my attention back to my computer and called up the internet browser. It was time to find a new party planning company, and fast, before the holiday season was upon me.